Hey everyone, and welcome back for another weekly memory keeping video. So this is for the week of June 8th through the 14th, and I'm using leftovers from a Cafe with Anna kit called Cultura. I believe this one is still in the shop if you're interested in the kit. I only had leftovers from the mini kit version, so that's why you're not seeing a whole lot of stuff here, because I had to pull the labels in advance to make sure that I actually had enough stuff left from the kit to cover the week, which I ended up like just putting character stickers directly on the paper. Shocker, I know who does that. I do. Because I was short a few labels, but like other than that, like I had enough left over to get through the week, so I just went ahead and used the leftovers. And then I have this leopard washi or jaguar washi. I don't actually know which animal it's supposed to be, a big not striped, big spotted cat, and I felt like it matched well with the colors of the kit. So this art is a tribute to Latin American culture, so I decided to use it especially because there were multiple soccer or football kits in the full boxes. So this was the beginning of the World Cup, and I'm not really a huge soccer or football fan, but I do support Croatia because that's part of my heritage. That's really the only games I've been paying attention to. I think I watched the highlights from like the Norway-France game because, fun fact, I'm also Norwegian. I'm a lot of things. That's the beauty of being American, and all your grandparents are immigrants. But yeah, so I'm not like the biggest soccer person, and FIFA is a horrible organization. And if you don't know anything about that, John Oliver at Last Week Tonight has covered it extensively throughout the years, while simultaneously still being a massive football fan because he's English. So you can hold space for both ideas at the same time, be a big fan of the sport and some of the players and obviously the fan culture, while still critiquing this mega organization that does a lot of really weird stuff. So there's that. But yeah, I root for Croatia. This is like the first time it's kind of like what happened with the Winter Olympics this year for me. Like, I think I just have, it's not that I have like more free time, but I have more free brain space right now to like pay attention to these like international events. So the World Cup only happens, what, every 4 years. So like the last one was 2022. That was when I was planning my wedding that summer. So like I did not have, and also I was traveling a lot because we were finally getting out of like lockdown time. So I was not paying attention to the World Cup then. 2018 was the one where I think Croatia made it to the final. They didn't win, unfortunately, but they made it to the final. 2018, that summer, I was moving to Southern California and quitting my full-time job and starting graduate school and also traveling a fair bit. So definitely didn't pay attention to it then. But I will always root for Croatia unless one of the players or like athletes, if we're talking like Olympics, does something that I don't agree with or that I think is bad. So yeah, have only really been paying attention to Croatia. They this can't be considered a spoiler, right? It's been, by the time this video goes up, this will have happened a couple of days ago. In real time, I went to a watch party for the third match in the group stage for Croatia, and they're into the next round. So I think this video will go up like in the in-between time between when that match versus Ghana happened versus when they are their next match, which is sometime right before 4th of July. And I think they're playing Portugal. Yeah, anyway, so I'm happy about that. Love a checkerboard. That's our thing. It's funny, we have a Croatian Cultural Center in Sacramento. We have, I guess, a big Croatian community here. And in June, it would have been this weekend actually, but it was like 100 degrees this weekend, so I did not feel like going because it's outside mostly. But they put together a big party every June. If you're ever in Sacramento in June, check it out. I recommend it. There's music, there's food, there's dancing, you know, the essentials to a good party. But like they go all into the checkerboard thing. Like, I mean, basically you just need a picnic blanket pattern, and they go and I guess either buy all of those up or make a bunch of them for the tables for that weekend. So anyway, something I do really love about the World Cup is just like seeing all the visitors like having fun with both American culture, but then just like kind of like flash mobbing various American cities. I find it really funny. The Norwegians are cracking me up. The Croatians not really crashed a wedding, but like I think people were taking wedding photos in a plaza in Philadelphia, and the Croatian fans were like dancing around them. Remember this one clip of this guy. So the first Croatia game was in Dallas, which was kind of like a worlds collide moment for me because my dad's parents lived in Dallas. They're not the Croatian grandparent. But then the Croatians were in Dallas eating all the Texas barbecue. And like this one guy was like, they were interviewing him and he was like, oh yeah, we couldn't sleep last night because we ate so much of the Texas barbecue and like it just kept us up all night, but it was delicious. And I'm just like, this is so funny. Because also, I mean, Croatians love a barbecue, like love it. So like you send them to Texas and you know, the portions are huge there and I'm sure they had a great time. So anyway, and then who else has been kind of funny as a fan base? Mostly I've been, my algorithm's been feeding me mostly Norway and Croatia because like those are my two patronyms, so I pay attention to that. Is there any other team I'm really paying attention to? Not really, I'm gonna be honest. I don't particularly care what Team USA is doing because again, I'm not a football fan, so I understand that some people are like invested in like particular players from like their more local teams that are on the men's national team, but I don't personally care. It's fine if you do, I just personally don't. I feel like there was something else I saw. I don't know. It's just been fun to see like the cultural interaction, and obviously there's been a lot of problems with like the US hosted games with a lot of different things, which I don't necessarily agree with, but I can't control that. So I'm choosing to focus on like people celebrating and interacting with each other and finding some sort of solace and something to celebrate in a time that is kind of an intense time to be alive, if we're being real. So feel free to disagree with me on that. This is an open dialogue, but I do think when you get down to like the essentials of a sporting event, especially an international one, like the World Cup or the Olympics, like you can critique the larger system that is causing problems for people while still appreciating the people who've worked really hard their whole lives to excel at this and to share their culture internationally. Anyway, I hope that made sense. In the sidebar, I did have to pull in some things for my leftovers collection. So I had this washi that I thought would nicely complement the colors in this kit because the colors in this kit are bright and bold and fun. And then I had a habit tracker for flossing and then my weekly dinners in the sidebar. This week, I had plenty of full boxes left over. I just didn't have that many labels left over because I chose to order the mini kit. And I thought about like ordering kit extras, but they wouldn't get here in time for me to like plan this in more real time. I've been really liking being caught up in my planner. Like I'm only a couple of weeks past in my planner and I really, really like it. And I'm trying to keep that going. So like when I get to a week, I'm not gonna like skip it or delay it. I'm just gonna work with whatever I have. So Monday I did yoga. I voiced over a plan with me and I filmed a haul. All of those stickers are from shops that either are no longer selling them or just simply don't exist anymore. I swept the back patio because I think on the weekend we had swept the front patio of all the leaves and debris and everything, and it's been really windy, so I took care of the back patio. Then a bunch more windstorms came through and ruined all that hard work, but we'll clean it up eventually. And then my husband surprised me with a vinyl. My husband likes to go on his lunch breaks to just like peruse the album stores in town. And every now and then he brings me home something. So this day it was Golden Hour by Casey Musgraves, which honestly, like I know that album got her the Grammy. And I know a lot of people really, really love it. It's not my favorite album from her. Like I like certain songs from it, but as an album, I don't. It's not my favorite of hers. That's just a personal preference, but I'm happy to have it on vinyl. And then we watched 10 Minute Power Hour and Last Week Tonight with John Oliver on YouTube. Tuesday, I marked being tired. I was really tired this week, and that led into it being like the first 100-degree weekend of the year. Leading into like 4th of July, we're going to have really nice weather again. Like last year, it was in the 80s for 4th of July, which feels unheard of in Sacramento. And it's looking like we're gonna be like high 80s this weekend too for 4th of July. So that's nice. Typically in Sacramento, we get 100 degrees, especially like a kind of killer heat wave in the first week of July. So I'm happy to not have that. My thoughts are with the people of like Western Europe this past week, though. I think it's starting to cool down now, but like for several days, it was hotter in like London, Paris, Croatia than it was here, which is so weird to me. But we definitely have those like shifting weather patterns, unfortunately. So anyway, Tuesday I was tired. I did more yoga. I filmed a plan with me. So I brought in these cute like bat stickers from Sweet Eva's paper for like plan with me stuff this week because it's like summer themed. But then also I felt like the bat like went well with this art for some reason. Oh, and then this week I was also just trying to like, oh, excuse me. Sorry, my husband's on a road trip and called, so I had to pick up the phone. Anyway, what I was saying is that this week was kind of the first week of my summer break where I was really starting to get into like some of my summer goals. So one of those is studying the Croatian language because I would like to visit relatively soon, and I feel like it would be a good idea for me to practice some of the language. So I've been doing that with a YouTube channel because Croatian's not available on Duolingo, and honestly, Duolingo, the guy who owns it, sucks. So try not to use it as much. And also when I was like studying Spanish on there to refresh my memory, like it wasn't even helping. So I've been using YouTube channels to try and learn parts of Croatian. I know like a few pleasantries before going into studying it, just from family and stuff, but I'm trying to learn more of the grammar, obviously, so I can string together sentences, hopefully. Which I believe in Croatia, a lot of people speak English anyway, but I think it would be a good idea for me to study the language, especially because it is not super different from English, but like the alphabet's a bit different, so good idea to study it. And then I watched a bunch of Josh Johnson on Tuesday. Wednesday was my last payday for this semester, so I don't get paid for a couple months now. I was tired again. I did more yoga. I voiced over a plan with me. And then I needed to redo my quote unquote gallery wall that's above our television. So it's just a few like plant themed objects. Like I have an embroidery hoop and like a photo and a poster and things like that. But a bunch of it had like fallen down. So I wanted to redo it. I'm using a lot of like adhesives and stuff. So I had to redo some of that. And then I was reading White Teeth. And then Patton Oswalt's new comedy special was out on YouTube, so I watched that as well as some Great British Bake Off, and then I ended the day by playing with Clover, who is my cat. Thursday was my elder nephew's 18th birthday. Wow. Also, I wanted to mark this day that the World Cup began, and so did Noah Khan's tour. I am attending neither because I am not rich, so I'm just enjoying watching, the World Cup on TV when I can, and Noah Khan clips online when I can. And then this was the first 100-degree day of the year, so I'm going to mark that with an air conditioner sticker from Sweet Eva's paper, and my husband was working from home. I feel like the 100 degrees lasted for the next like 4 days, I want to say, and since it's kind of cooled down and been more manageable, so that's been really nice. I did a job application. I also brushed the cats. I'm going to mark that with this hairbrush or like pet brush sticker from Planner Face because the cats obviously shed a lot this time of year, especially when it is 100 degrees outside. So sometimes I'm taking off like a thick coat of fur off of each cat, even Clover. So one of my cats is like a medium hair cat and the other one's a short hair. Like she kind of feels like a seal, honestly. Whereas my medium hair cat is like very like fluffy, light fur. Anyway, both of them shed a ton during this time of year. And then I finally started designing our wedding photo album this day. So I've been putting this off because there's just a lot of photos to sort through and I want to make sure that it's exactly what I want. And I'm not done with it yet. It's going to take a while. I'm going to take my time with it. But 3.5 years later, I'm finally starting to put it together. It's not like I don't have any photos from our wedding printed. I've framed a couple. I've put together like a collage using our former seating chart and things like that. But I do want to make sure I do the full book at some point. I figure we have the rest of our lives to do it. Like, we're still married, so like it doesn't matter that it's not done at this point. But yeah, I marked that with a little Once More with Love bride sticker, because, not Once More with Love, Wonton in a Million bride sticker, because the red matched this kit. And then I did kind of a mini workout, and then this night we tried to go to a listening party for the new Olivia Rodrigo album, but the line was around the building, and I'm like, I don't think we're gonna make it in there because it's a very small record store. So I wanted to roll down the window and say, hey, y'all should listen to the new Death Cab for Cutie album that came out last week. I think you'll like it if you want to be sad, because like the Death Cab for Cutie listening party at this same record store, there were very few people at it, which meant that I got all the freebies. Like, they gave out a free sticker sheet and a poster, and then I bought the album as well. I bought the last copy of the Death Cab for Cutie album that they had last week. But for this, like, based on the number of people, I was not convinced that we would be comfortable in that small space, and I was pretty sure all of the freebies would be gone. And I didn't really feel like buying the album anyway. They only had like a dozen copies of it. And I'm also glad I didn't buy it, because my understanding is that a lot was cut from the LP to fit it all onto one disc, which I don't love. I still really love the album. It came out the next day and we listened to it, and I love the idea of having like one side of it being, or the first half of it being the love songs, and the second half of it being the slow deterioration of the relationship. I love that, because like you can kind of just like play part of it, and like depending on what mood you're in, it's like, am I happy today? Okay, I'm gonna listen to the so in love side. Am I sad today? I'm gonna listen to the pretty sad side. But my understanding is that like the whole bridge of like you plus me, or you plus me equals a heart, however that's spelled, I don't remember. The whole bridge of that song is like not on the vinyl, and that's like such a great part of the song. I think a lot of like outros for songs were cut as well. So I don't pre-order records, because like I don't want something that I'm not actually gonna enjoy. I need to hear it first. So I do stream it first and then decide if I want the record. But I think that's a really good case of not buying the record before it releases, because there's a bunch of stuff missing from it. Friday, I marked Filipino Independence Day. I also wasn't feeling well this day. My husband worked from home again, and then like I said, I listened to Olivia Rodrigo's new album, You Seem Pretty Sad for a Girl So in Love. I've really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think it's got a lot of interesting vibes to it. I think the writing's pretty tight. I feel like the music is quite interesting. I know some people aren't so sure if they like the full like pop sound to it, but I like the 80s pop sound to it a lot. I still enjoy her other music from earlier that was more kind of like pop punk-ish, but yeah, I really enjoyed this album a lot. So that CD sticker is from Corks and Corks Co. So is the little quirky character with a microphone, which I used to mark that the Stupid Song music video came out. And then also My Chemical Romance released an old cover they did of Common People. Then I did laundry. I got the FIFA Squishmallow McDonald's Happy Meal this day, and then we played Mario Party with me and my husband, and I won for once and watched a bunch of YouTube. Saturday and Sunday were very quiet days. It was hot out. I didn't really feel like going out and doing anything because it was hot and I wasn't feeling well anyway. But we did get a giant sandwich on Saturday, and I love a giant sandwich. I love a sub sandwich like the size of a small baby. I filmed a Plan With Me, and then I watched the 2007 BBC movie version of Persuasion, which is still not perfect, but it is so much better than the 2022 Netflix version of Persuasion, which was awful, mostly because of Dakota Johnson. I'm sorry, she didn't cut it for me. Not my Anne. Not my Anne. And then Sunday I read, I was feeling really dehydrated, and then was clearing off some old technology and watching Great British Bake Off. So that's this week. I hope you enjoyed. I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.